Have you ever been in one of those conversations that just completely goes off the rails? You know the feeling. You feel misunderstood, you're frustrated, and you end up feeling even further apart from the person than when you started? Well, what if I told you there's a science to fixing that? Today, we're going to dive into a guide for handling those difficult conversations, all based on some incredible research from author Charles Duhigg. We have all been there. You make a simple comment and somehow it turns into a lecture. A single look gets interpreted the wrong way and boom, full-blown argument. All of a sudden, you're locked in this conversational standoff, and you have no idea how you even got there, let alone how to get out. It just feels like you're completely and utterly stuck. You know, researchers actually have a name for one of the most toxic things that can happen in these moments. They call it kitchen sinking. And it's that crazy spiral where you start arguing about, I don't know, who is supposed to walk the dog, and suddenly you're fighting about that thing that happened 5 years ago. It is the classic sign that a conversation has gone terribly, terribly wrong. So this really is the big question, isn't it? Why does this keep happening? Why do the conversations that matter the most, with our partners, our families, our coworkers, why do they so often just devolve into a fight where nobody wins and, honestly, everyone just feels worse?
Okay, so here is the breakthrough insight. Pulitzer Prize-winning author Charles Duhigg figured out that we often get stuck in that standoff because we think we're having one conversation, but there are actually 3 different kinds of conversations that could be happening at any given moment.
And this is the absolute key right here. The friction, it's usually not about what you're talking about. It's that you're both having 2 totally different conversations at the exact same time. Just think about it, right? You come home from a long day, you just want to vent and get some empathy, but your partner immediately jumps into problem-solving mode. You feel unheard, they feel like they're being attacked just for trying to help, and, well, you're both frustrated.
And this table just breaks that mismatch down perfectly. You've got your practical conversations, which are all about plans and finding a solution. Then you have emotional conversations, which are about feelings and getting some validation. And finally, social conversations, which are really about our identity and our place in the world. So when you offer a practical solution to an emotional need, you're just not speaking the same language. It's like a total mismatch. So how do we fix this? What do we do? Well, it all starts with learning the skills of what Duhigg calls super communicators. And the cool thing is, these are real, concrete tools that anyone can learn to bridge that gap and actually connect with people.
All right, the first tool is kind of surprising. Research shows that super communicators ask 10 to 20 times more questions than the average person. I mean, think about that, 10 to 20 times. But wait, it's not just about firing off more questions.
It's about asking the right kind of questions. They ask what are known as deep questions. These are the questions that get you past all the surface level stuff and really uncover what's going on underneath, someone's values, their beliefs, their experiences. So instead of just asking, why do you think that? You ask something like, help me understand, what does this whole thing really mean to you personally? See the difference? And this leads us to a massive, massive mindset shift. The most effective communicators, they are not trying to win. That's not their goal. Their primary goal is simply to prove that they are listening. Just that simple act of showing you understand is what lowers everyone's defenses and makes a real connection possible.
So here's the technique to actually do it. It's called looping for understanding, and it's just 3 simple steps. First, you ask one of those deep questions. Second, you repeat back what you heard them say, and this is important, in your own words. And third, you confirm with the magic question, did I get that right? This little question gives them the final say, and it proves you are genuinely trying to understand, not just waiting for your turn to talk. Now, these tools are especially powerful when things get heated, when it comes to arguments. Because look, arguments aren't always a bad thing. In fact, they can be incredibly healthy for a relationship. The key isn't to avoid arguments altogether, it's to learn how to have them productively.
And here's the big difference. In a toxic argument, we feel threatened, right? So our first instinct is to try and control the other person, what they're saying, how they're feeling, when you talk. But in a productive argument, you shift your focus. You work together to control the situation instead.
And here's how you actually do that. You can agree on a better time and place to talk. You can set some ground rules, like saying, hey, let's just talk about this one issue for now. And maybe most importantly, you can choose to exercise some self-control. You can choose to use your energy to listen instead of to attack. And that's what creates a safe space for real conversation.
And all of this, it leads to the ultimate purpose of having these hard conversations in the first place. This is a reframe that could honestly change everything. The goal is not always to agree, the goal is to connect.
But here's a wild, counterintuitive truth. The way most of us try to convince people is completely wrong. Study after study shows that when you just bombard someone with facts and evidence to prove they're wrong, it actually makes them dig their heels in even deeper. Shouting your opinion, presenting your case, it doesn't just not work, it backfires.
So what does this mean? It means you have to change your objective entirely. You need to go into the conversation with this mindset. My goal here isn't to prove I'm right and you're wrong. My goal is to truly understand how you see the world and to speak in a way that helps you understand how I see it.
Because when understanding becomes the real priority, something amazing happens. You start to discover all these gray areas. You find the shared values that were hiding underneath the disagreement all along. And look, you might not change each other's minds, and that's okay. But what you do is build a foundation of mutual respect and connection, and that is so much more valuable than winning any single argument.
So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. Who is one person you need to talk to? What's one topic you've been kind of avoiding? Now that you're armed with these tools, what's one conversation you're going to have differently this week? Because really, the right conversation at the right moment, well, it can change everything.